So today we're going to talk about something pretty wild. How can AI understand your emotions, like your mood, your focus, even how stressed out you are, all without ever seeing your face or hearing your voice? And get this isn't some sci-fi movie concept. It's happening right now. Let's dive in.
It's a massive question, isn't it? I mean, we're used to the idea of AI analyzing a video or a voice recording, but sensing our internal state just from how we use our phones and computers? Well, the answer is hidden in the little digital breadcrumbs we leave behind with every single thing we do online.
Just think about how you use your computer. Every click, every pause, every single word you type, it all creates this unique digital signature that's all your own. To you, it probably feels like nothing. You're just working or browsing the web, but to an AI, these are not random actions. Nope, they're a constant stream of clues.
And these clues have a name: emotional signals. The best way to think about them is like digital body language, right? Just like slumping in your chair might show you're tired, or tapping your fingers might mean you're impatient, well, a bunch of frantic mouse movements can signal anxiety to an AI. Okay, so let's start with a tool we all use every single day, but probably never give a second thought to: the keyboard. It turns out your keyboard is telling a secret story about how you're feeling, and the AI is paying very close attention to how you type, not just what you type. So an AI isn't just looking at how fast you can type, it's digging way deeper. It's analyzing the exact pressure you apply to each key, and all the tiny pauses between words, and even between individual letters. These patterns are incredibly revealing, and they change a lot depending on your mood.
Just look at how different these digital signatures are. Think about the last time you were super stressed, maybe rushing to meet a deadline. Was your typing a little more frantic? Maybe a bit forceful? Now compare that to a time you were totally in the zone, completely lost in a project. The rhythm is just completely different, right? But the keyboard is only one piece of the puzzle. Your mouse, or your trackpad cursor, is another huge source of these emotional signals. You could almost say the path your cursor takes across the screen is like a little map of your thought process.
When we're focused, our cursor moves with intention. You see straight lines, direct paths from point A to point B. But when we're anxious or confused, that movement becomes way more erratic. It might dart all over the place or hover over a button without clicking. The AI sees all of that. So what other little clues is the AI looking for? Well, it's paying attention to something called dwell time. That's how long you linger on a certain part of a web page. It's also clocking how often you're switching between tabs, and it even notices those tiny hesitations right before you commit to a click. It's all just part of the data stream. Okay, so we've got all these tiny, seemingly random data points: keystroke pressure, cursor paths, how often you switch tabs. On its own, it all just looks like noise. But to an AI, it's like a symphony of emotional signals. The real question is, how does it learn to read the music? And here's the really crucial part. If you look at any one of these actions by itself, it tells you almost nothing. One hard key press could just be a typo. A jerky mouse movement might just be a slip of the hand. The real magic isn't in any single data point. The power of this whole thing really comes down to a simple three-step process. First, the AI just collects a massive amount of this behavioral data. Then its algorithms get to work, finding connections and recognizing patterns across all these different signals. And finally, it makes an inference. It links a specific combination of patterns to a likely emotional state. See, it's only when thousands of these little signals are all combined and analyzed together that a clear and, frankly, a startlingly accurate picture of your emotional state starts to take shape. This is basically how an AI can learn about your internal world without ever having to ask you a single question.
So, this brings us to the big picture. We kind of get the how now, but what about the so what? This capability is incredibly powerful, and with that power comes a whole bunch of really complex questions about how it should be used and by whom.
This quote from our source material just nails it, doesn't it? Without you saying a word, without a camera ever being on, the AI already has a pretty good idea of how you're feeling. So, where does that leave us? Is this the next step towards truly helpful, personalized technology that can adapt to what we need in the moment? Or does the idea of a machine constantly reading our emotions feel a little unsettling? It's a question that really forces us to think about our relationship with our devices, and it's one we're all going to have to think about as this tech becomes more and more a